Looks like we're live. All right, here we are. It is 6:30. We are going to be starting our 3D Poppies live stream. It's mixed media. And my name is Chris. Maybe this is the very first time you are painting, creating with me. Of course, we're here with Artist Palette Durham Region. Hello to everyone who's just logging in, tuning in right now. I'll give people a few more minutes to get tuned in. I will go over the supplies that you need. Maybe let me know in the chat, maybe where you're from, or any special shout outs. Welcome to Rosa. Thanks for tuning in. Hello to, looks like Brian from Seattle. Welcome. I'm Chris. I'm from London, Ontario. That's in Canada. Not too far from the Durham region itself, but I'm not actually in Durham region. That's because, you know, with modern technology, we could really paint together from anywhere in the world. All right, well, I think everyone's tuned in who means to tune in right now. Welcome to Ramira and Elaine. Hello to Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. So in Canada, we celebrate Remembrance Day. That's on the 11th of the 11th month. That's coming up this weekend. Maybe you're not in Canada. Maybe you celebrate your veterans on a different day in a different way. But in Canada, the symbol that we wear on over our hearts is the poppy. I have one stuck on me. Let me just take it off. Yeah, maybe you've never been to Canada or seen these little poppies that we wear over our hearts, on our chest. Let me just pin that on. And it's just like a nice small gesture to honor and show our appreciation, our gratitude for our servicemen and women, our veterans. And this image, this mixed media painting / craft we're about to do, wouldn't that be a lovely gift to a veteran in your life? Or maybe in your town or city, there is a veteran's home or a retirement home that you might gift that to, or you could maybe keep that in your own home, sort of as a reminder to be grateful every day for the sacrifice and dedication of our servicemen and women. So we'll get started. I think, yeah, quite a few people have tuned in. Let's do the supplies that are in front of us here. So I'm going to do mine on a small canvas here. You could do this on paper. You could do this on wood. It could be any shape, any size. In a pinch, put it on some cardboard, some cardstock, something a little thick that could hold the flowers. But I'm going to do a small canvas here. The sort of plaid look that I have in the background, I'm going to do with some acrylic paint. I've grabbed just some very basic colors here, you know, red and yellow. I'm missing the blue from my primary colors, but I didn't really feel like I needed blue in this particular one. And some black and some white. You could change this background to be anything you want. It could be this sort of plaid that I'm going for here. It could be more of a solid color or more of a sky blue. It could have like maybe a sunset effect, polka dots, stripes, whatever you feel like, swirls. It could be clouds. It could be leaves. It could be anything you want in the background. I will demonstrate the sort of plaid look. So I've got some acrylic paint there. For the paint, I'll have a couple of brushes here. I got some kind of flat, bigger, squarish ones. This will help me fill in the whole canvas pretty quickly. It's a bigger brush. And then I'll probably do my stripes with this one that's a little smaller we'll see how that goes. But any kind of brushes that you have, any size, any shape, you'll be able to get the job done. Let's put that here. I've got some water and a bit of paper towel for when I do the acrylic paint. I've got a pencil here. That'll help me sort of outline the petal shapes of the petals of the poppies. And I've got scissors to cut out those outlines that I make. Scissors. I'm going to do my poppies on, what's the word I'm looking for? Sheet music. There's like notes, no, sheet music that I sourced from just like a secondhand book that I got at a local thrift store. Favorite songs of the 90s. And at first I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, like the 1990s. No, it is the 1890s. I found that at the thrift store, and I was just so impressed with the quality of the songs. And this one, like, The Man That Broke the Bank at Monte Carlo. I know that one. There's, you know, all very retro songs in here. Like Bicycle Built for Two, that kind of thing. So I just thought that was a funny thing to find. Favorite songs of the 90s. And I cut the spine off so that I have loose sheet music. Now, you don't have to have sheet music. Plain paper would be fine too. Maybe other paper that you've sourced out of a used book. It could be just written text instead of musical notes. It could be maybe like a science type journal, and there's images. I just thought it added like a little bit of extra texture. You can see it through the paint. So I've got, what is that, 8 or 10 pieces of paper. You can have more or less. We'll cut those up. I've got some green pipe cleaners, or chenilles, some people call them. Those will be my stems. But if you don't have green pipe cleaners, it could be a different color, first of all. It could be black, it could be brown, it could be whatever you have available, or just paint some stems on later on. You don't have to have a 3D stem. You could paint that on. That would work. And, oh, hot glue. So my hot glue's off to the side so I don't put my hand on it and burn myself. A couple of glue sticks. Hot glue. If you don't have hot glue, maybe like a crazy glue would be good, like an instant kind of glue. We'll start with the painting of the background before we get into sort of the crafting element of it. Let's get some paint here. Again, you could paint yours any way you want, any background at all. I encourage you to make yours a little bit different from mine too. All right, what brush do I want? Sort of a bigger brush, sort of to get a lot of paint all at once. So I'm going to do a very, very, very pale gray. Almost white, but with a little bit of black in it to make it a very pale gray. Think about what other color combinations you could do, like a red and black plaid, or green and black plaid background, anything you want. I get my brush wet. I'm going to grab, well, I'll bring it over here. Black, a little bit of black into my white. A little bit. Make a very pale gray. And it's okay if maybe it's not fully mixed and you have a little bit of streakies of slightly darker or slightly lighter. That would be okay. We're going for a plaid, and it's very textured, almost like a dry brush effect. So pale gray. Yeah, you could sort of see the difference on camera, the gray and the white, but like to my own eyes in real life, it's more noticeable. That's kind of nice. Let me give a little testaroo on here. Oh yeah, you can really tell that it's gray now that it's against the white. That's good. I'm going to cover the whole thing, the literal whole thing. And I like to grab some water. Here's my water up here. Dunk. Get some water, spread it up and down. Get all the way to the edge. If you want to paint like the edge as well, like right along here, that'd be good too. Sort of finish it off. Pale gray, or the color of your choice. I'm dunking in water, I'm dunking in paint. That'll help it sort of get into all those little tiny textured little holes of the canvas. Canvases have those teeny tiny holes. The water with the paint helps get in the little holes. But even if you have a little spot or two with some exposed canvas, no one's going to notice. There's going to be 3D flowers on top that will draw the eye. And we want it fairly thin. We don't want huge gobs anywhere. Those will take forever to dry. So just spread everything out. Spread. Up, down, side to side. Just spread it thin. Pale gray. All right, nice and thin. Just kind of do a light drag of the brush to smooth out any thick areas. Yeah, do your edges if you want your edges finished off. I generally don't. Hello to Sue and Patricia joining us. Thanks so much for tuning in. There we go, nice and thin. We'll give that a moment to dry. Yeah, do I want to wash it? Sometimes I don't wash my brush between colors. I might not this time. But if you want to wash your brush, go ahead. I know I'm just going to make more gray, so having gray on my brush isn't a problem. Just set that down. Yeah, if you are using hot glue, if you haven't already plugged in your hot glue, you should do that now so it's warm when we get to gluing. And I usually put I just pop it on a metal thing so it doesn't ruin my furniture. Tips and tricks from Chris. Welcome to, I'm going to go with Kikini. Great name. Welcome. In Australia. Super. It is, yeah, it's a glue gun, so it's hot glue. Just clear. They are available in different colors, but I went with clear glue. Good question. In Australia, do they have sort of a day to remember your veterans, like Remembrance Day or Veterans Day, Memorial Day, anything like that? I'd be curious to know. I guess I could Google it, but I like when people educate me. Still pretty wet. I guess I could sort of explain what the next steps are going to be as that's drying just a little smidge. We are going to add, I would say, medium gray in sort of like a grid. If you're a stickler for like perfection and you want your grid to be exactly square, you could get a ruler and mark, you know, X amount of centimeters along the top and the side. I'm just kind of going to eyeball my plaid pattern squares. So I'll probably, you know, do a stripe down the middle and then some stripes going outward, stripe across the middle, stripes outward from that. But certainly a ruler would make them perfectly even. So we'll add sort of a medium gray, and then wherever those medium gray stripes cross each other is where we'll darken them to make this sort of a square patch. And I don't know if we haven't really looked closely at it. If you look really closely, if the glare would just go away, see how it's kind of wispy and not like thick paint, just a very dry application of paint. So when we get our brush and dip it in paint, we're probably going to wipe most of the paint off to get that sort of dry effect. But if you have maybe a different idea of how you'd like to do your plaid, you can definitely do it your way. All right, Kikini says Anzac Day is on April 25th. All right, I like that. Yeah, I feel like every country sort of has a day like Remembrance Day. All right, that's getting a little drier. I am going to mix up a bit of darker gray. So I still have some of the original gray. Let's just add a little black to that. If you've run out of gray from before, just make up a gray that's darker than what you already have so that it actually shows up against it. You know, to any degree, just not like dark. Any shade would be good. Again, if it's not like perfectly blended and mixed, that's okay too. Go. The size of the big brush, I would say that's about 1 inch, but you use any size brush really. Let's see, is that, I think that's kind of, I might go a teeny bit darker. Yeah, if you look at this compared to this, there's a noticeable difference. Good. I'm going to set that down. What size do I want? This size? This size? I think I did the other stripes originally with this brush. Any brush size that you have. All right, so I've got lots of paint in there. I kind of want to wipe most of it off. Wipe it. And I'm going to start with, I guess I could start like the very top is going to be a stripe. So why don't we do that? So right along the very top, I'm lightly dragging. I kind of want it to be sort of streaky, patchy, wispy. See how there's like little missing parts? It's not consistent. And I'm also going to do on the bottom. Very light, wispy, barely any pressure. Barely there. There we are. Yeah, we're going to make the poppies after we've painted our background. I'm also going to do my stripe up the left and the right, because those will be helpful when we do our other ones. I try to keep them straight, but don't worry if they're not. Yeah, light patches, dark patches. It's a little thin there, it's a little thick there, but I'm not too worried. And so far I haven't even gotten more paint on my brush. I'm just using what's on it and just lightly dragging. Sort of looks like we're making a frame. Like that. And then 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do sort of the middle across the top and bottom. Wipe off your brush if you go to get more paint. Right down the middle as straight as you can. Let's see here. Maybe this is the middle. That wasn't too bad. There's some dark patches. There's some light patches. Pretty straight. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm going to do side to side. So where's the middle there? Maybe here. Yeah, I kind of had to like stop and start again. It's kind of dark there. Not a problem. A little bit more. I'm going to do, I'll probably do one like right down the middle here. So essentially this is now like quarters. Sort of reminds me of a window frame. Is it perfectly even? Nope. But it's okay. There's going to be flowers on top to distract. I've got like a little white patch there that I'm not worried about. And let me finish off my cross ones. So here I'm going to put 2. If maybe yours is smaller and you want to just do 1 across, you can do that. I'm going to try to fit 2 in there as evenly as I can. That's pretty good. If yours doesn't look like that, if they're more rectangles than squares, that's all right. Every plaid can be different. Yeah, and this is going to dry super quickly because it's so lightly applied. Yeah, there's a couple interesting places. Some squares are smaller than others. This one's real small, that one's real big. But we're progressing. And there's going to be flowers, beautiful flowers to distract. Yeah, even as I'm looking at it, some of the first stripes we did are already dry. What's great about these YouTube lives, you are able to pause and rewind while I'm doing it live. So maybe if yours takes a little bit longer to dry or you fell a little behind and want more time, just hit pause at any time and then, play when you want to keep going again. So if you're still working on your stripes, just go at your own pace. It's doing pretty good, pretty dry. So the next step, we're going to darken where any two lines cross. So all of these, but then also the sort of T intersections here. Those little squares would also need to be darkened. We're still going to use the same brush because it's like the perfect width to darken those spots. I'll probably do the same thing. I'll add more black to the existing gray that I already have, because then I know it'll be darker. And I'm not going for like black here, just like very, very, very dark gray. That's kind of nice. Let me see. I'll just test the color on one of these. Yeah, that's a pretty good contrast. If it's really close to the color you had before, maybe darken it a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's a good color. Well, even if some of these patches are still a little wet, like it's really wet there, here, you can work on other patches. So just, again, lightly, you could do it sort of in both directions, just wherever they cross. And it doesn't have to be like a perfect square or fully filled in. Mine has sort of that wispy, gappy texture still. Yes. As you fill in more and more, it'll start to look more platy. Brian, the size of my brush, I would say that's about 1 inch, but yours could be bigger or smaller. You'll just have a bigger or smaller plaid pattern. Yeah, if you do, like this one's slightly smaller than this. If I were to do that one, it would still make a plaid pattern, just a little bit thinner lines. There we go. And like a couple little blobbies fell right there. Don't panic. It's fine. It just adds more character. Yeah, mine are not perfect, tight little squares. They're a little bit messy on the edges, wispy, dark patches, light patches. I'm hoping that at least a couple of us are trying like different colors. Don't have to follow exactly the colors I do all the time. Even, I guess you could change the color of the flowers if you maybe didn't want it to be about poppies. Nope, I missed one. I skipped right over this one. Whoops. Starting to look more plattish. And I've got a little drippy drop right there. That's fine. Again, if you are going a little bit slower pace than me, need a little bit more time, you can always pause at any point. Take your time. There we go. So yeah, it's starting to look more platty. And I'm going to do something that maybe you don't want to do. I'm going to have very little paint on my brush. In fact, I'm going to wipe it on my tablecloth here a little bit. I'm going to like purposely mess it up just like a little bit. So it's not perfection. I want sort of like some of it to go onto the stripes a little bit. Here and there, you can kind of drag just to sort of mess it up. Drag some here and there. Soften it, I think. I think it softens it. So I'm just dragging some sort of in all directions, really going for that wispy, bumpy texture. It doesn't have to be every square. It doesn't have to be every direction. Just like to mess it up. Barely any paint on my brush. Really, I'm just kind of dragging whatever's still a little wet up and down, side to side. You might not be able to tell the difference, but I think it looks just like a little softer in my mind. That's pretty good. And then I think I'll add just like a smidge more black in my gray. smidge. Still, it's not quite like black, black. It's never going to be black, black. Again, I wipe it off. Very little paint. And I might add just like little hints, wisps. Barely, barely, barely. I'm okay with the imperfections, like these little globbies here, this big globby here. Are the perfectionists out there just screaming at the screen? You do you. You make it nice and tidy and neat if you like. I kind of like this sort of soft, almost like a fabric. Oh, that looks good. Yeah, is that glob too dark? For some, maybe. For me, it's fine. I'm going to add, it's very subtle, a little bit of white. I'm going to grab, I'll probably grab this brush because it's like untouched. So the white will be nice and white. Again, I'm going to wipe most of the paint off my brush. Even wipe some on the tablecloth. Very little paint. I'm going to put some white in the middles, if you will. So like here, this is the middle between the two darker stripes. Just a little. Do you see a very little bit of white here? I'll do a little bit more. To any degree, or skip it. It's so subtle. You might not need it or want it. Oh, that was a little chunkier than I thought, but that's all right. We'll just blend it, fluff it out. Super subtle. I bet you can't even tell. I'm going to do up and down too. So it's like a very subtle white grid on top of our gray grid. Oh, that was a little bit too much. Not following my own rule of wiping off my brush. Gotta remember that. That was real bright there. That's all right. Spread it out. And this is the last bit of our background, and we'll let it dry, and then we'll be putting some beautiful flowers on it. There we go. Yeah, I chose sort of a grayscale kind of background so that the flowers pop and are the focal point more than the background, but a color background would be beautiful too. Okay, I'm going to put aside my paint. I'm going to put my painting aside to dry. Let's put it up here because we are going to do the sort of cut and paste portion. As I said, it doesn't have to be sheet music. It could be plain paper. It could be, oh, you could print. I guess you could go online, print some sheet music on just regular paper. That would be okay. Have you guys got your glue guns starting to heat up there? All right. How many pages? I've got probably 8 or 10 pages. I'm aiming for 5 flowers, poppy flowers. If you're working on something a bit bigger or a bit smaller, you could have less or more. My poppies have sort of like 2 layers. There's like a smaller, what would be a good way? They're kind of like stuck together with paint. A smaller cuppy of petals here. And then there's a bigger cuppy of petals on the outside. And all of them have that sort of a bigger and then a smaller. And yeah, each like petal cup is 4 petals. And then the big one around it is 4 petals. And I sort of like rotated them so that the gap here between the big petals is sort of covered by the smaller petal. So they're offset. There's 4 and then there's 4, but then I just rotate them so they kind of nest in each other. And then I just kind of crumpled them up with my fingers to make them more 3D. It's going to be fun. So I'm going to make like 3 different sizes of petals, like big, medium, small. If you want to just go with like 2 big and small, that would be fine. Let me, if I cut this in half, I want to cut them in half, and then I'm going to cut a few in half. Let's see. I'm going to cut these ones. And I sort of chose sheets that had sort of like the most music on them, if you know what I mean. Because some have like more gaps and stuff. I'm just going to do a rough cut in half situation. Some of the sheets here. We'll see if I cut those ones too. How big do I want them? Yeah. Okay. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I cut 4 pages in half. So now I have 8 right here. This is 8. I'm going to cut that in half. Let's go with, it doesn't have to be exact. Every petal could be different. There we go. All right, so I had 4 papers. I cut them into quarters. Oh, I've got lots now. Tons now. Look at them all. So yeah, that's a good size, I think. So each of these quarters of a page, so it's a quarter of this whole page, this is going to be 2 petals, like these 2, and then these 2. I'm going to fold this in half. Fold it in half. There we go. So here's a quarter of a full size, folded in half. Kind of a big, so here's the fold. Here's the fold right here. I want the petals, these 2, to be attached. I should use something darker than this so you can see it. Let's get a Sharpie. Because you can't see the pencil on the camera. Let's get a Sharpie. There we go. That'll work a lot better. So you can see. Maybe something like this. Wiggly edges. Not all nice and round. So see how it's folded? Here's the fold. So these two petals will be sort of attached. Let's do a quick cutout to show you. Wiggly edges. I'm not even following the original line I made. That's how much it doesn't matter. Maybe something like that. So that's going to be 2 of them. Might as well trace it on the next one. Kind of set it on there. So here's my top one. Put it on there. You could trace that. Eventually, I don't even think you need to use a drawing tool. I think eventually you'll just cut it with scissors and be like, yep, that's a good petal. Okay. Ah, here we go. Look at them all. Is that a proper poppy petal shape? Doesn't have to be. This is our version. This is our interpretation. So yours might be a little bit more rounder. Mine's kind of like more elongated here. That's not a problem. So I'm going to make maybe like 3 sets of this. Here's one with 4 petals. I'm going to do that 2 more times. But this time, ooh, now we're getting smart. I'm going to fold these 2 together. Fold them together. So if you want to, draw it out first and then cut, or just go right to cutting. Wrinkly edge, wiggly edge. Maybe like this. I don't know. This one has a little bit different shape. It's not the exact same. There's another one. Is it the same? Nope. That's fine. There's another one. Let's do it again. I can layer them, fold it together, cut them together. We're saving time. And everyone's a little bit different. There we go. There's another foursome of petals. And if these get a little bit mixed up with each other, oops, oh, doesn't matter. They could be, different. Doesn't matter. So there's like sort of our biggest. Those will be my biggest. Let's put them there. Let's do something like a little bit smaller than that. Or maybe your first ones were sort of in the medium zone and you want bigger ones, do bigger ones. Just have some that are different sizes. I'm going to take 2 more of these, fold them again. So you decide, do you want to do the next set bigger or the next set smaller? I'm doing a little smaller. How did I do this one? That one, that. And I'm just comparing. That is smaller. There we go. There's another set. Let's do a little bit more. Good medium size. Do a few more. I think when I had first came up with this idea with the sheet music, and then we had posted it online, someone had the idea to use maybe patriotic songs for their sheet music. That is such a good idea. Could have been maybe like "Oh Canada" or something. That's pretty good. That's a good size. How many do I have? I've got 3 sets of those. That's good. I'll probably end up making like more petals than I need, and then just kind of picking which ones I like best. Let's make some. I can make some even smaller than that. So like right in the middles. Fold that. I might try making some like really jumbo ones too. See what I like. Maybe I'll end up doing more than 5 flowers. These are quite small and delicate. Yep. So here's my different size options. This one, that one, and that one. So maybe like if the first petals you cut out were more closer to this size, and then you made some that are this, and you don't want to go smaller than that, go bigger. Go bigger. Medium, medium, big. Now I'm getting all mixed up. Okay, these are mediums. A few more of these. And what could you do with the scraps? You could do maybe some paper mache with the scraps or something. Those are a little bit fat. Thin those out. That's cute. Those are little bitty ones. Do I want to make any giant ones? Those are kind of nice. I like those. Yeah, keep making more petal shapes as you see fit. You could have like more poppies like tucked in these little gaps, really thick, dense little bouquet of poppies. I think that's a good amount. Put those over there. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit. If you're still cutting, still folding, drawing, tidy that up. Put that there. Yeah, keep cutting. I cut fast because I've done this before. Yeah, while you're still cutting, maybe you're almost wrapped up, I want to share with you some upcoming events with me, Chris. If you've been enjoying my style of art, if you've been enjoying my style of teaching, of hosting, I've got lots of great stuff coming up, some paid stuff, some free stuff. Let's show you what's coming November and December. So generally I teach every Thursday. So next Thursday is the 16th. And I will be teaching this on Zoom. So this one is called The Turn of the Seasons. It is watercolor on paper, and there's some pen drawing. And I will walk you through all the steps to create this from scratch. There's no outline needed. We will draw it together, and you will have a completed image ready to frame in 2 hours. So this is on Zoom. It is a paid event. You get the tickets on our website, artistpalettereham.com. If you've been enjoying the free events that we put on and you'd like to support us, a good idea is to get a ticket to one of our paid events. And then we will continue to do lots of free events still too, of course. So that's next Thursday, the 16th. After that is November 23rd. We're going to be doing this one on Zoom. I called it a Frosty Family. And you have that great frosted effect in the sky, in the penguins, even in the little baby here. That is made with salt, a trade secret. Adding salt to watercolor gives it that kind of frosted effect. And again, I'll walk you through doing that from start to finish on Zoom The Zoom ones are nice because you can be on your camera and share your progress as we go along and ask questions, and I'll answer them live. It's a more intimate setting. The 23rd for that one. And then end of November, the 30th, is this one that I called A Crisp Morning View. It's sort of like a stained glass window kind of a look. Again, you're going to draw that with me from scratch, and then we'll fill it in with watercolor. And I even added a little metallic watercolor in there. It's kind of a shiny sun there. Don't know if you can tell. November 30th, tickets on the website. And then we're already into December. Let's look at this one, December 7th. It is pen and watercolor. This particular one, you do get a little outline of the granny just to help you along. And then we'll draw all the rest around that from scratch. And we fill that in with watercolor. December 7th, tickets on the website. Granny's here. She's got lots of presents. And then the next time you'll see me here on YouTube Live, so right where we are right now, is this event, December 14th. I called it Silly Snowmen. And first we do a bit of stippling. If you've never heard of stippling, it's a way of drawing with a pen, but just using dots. So if you look really closely at the snow hills, the trees, the snowmen, it's all teeny tiny dots. And then we'll fill it in with watercolor. That's free right here on YouTube Live. December 14th, halfway through December there. And then I'll just show you the next page, sneak peek, coming up on the next page because it's not on the website yet. It's brand new. This is a sneak peek. I called it Holiday Gnome Home. So in the summer, we did some summer gnome homes. Now we're doing some holiday ones. They're getting ready. They're stringing the lights. Pen and watercolor on Zoom. Tickets on the website. That's for December 21st, but that's not on the website yet, so you'll have to wait a couple days. It'll be on the website soon. And then an even sneakier sneak peek. I'm not even finished this one. This will be for sort of New Year's time. I got the pen part. I haven't gotten the coloring part yet, but I don't even know what the title is. So that'll be probably December 28th, just before New Year's. So I'm going to fill that in with color. And then I'll post that. Yeah, so when I was doing the Hello 2024, I put a 3. And I went, because I'm so used to writing 2023. So you can't tell, but I patched it really good. It is now a 4. Silly me. I do that. All right, let us get our sort of poppy cups going. Let's get my sizes sorted again. I got them all mixed up again. Okay, these are small. This is medium. Medium. Yeah, if you just have like 2 sizes of poppy petals, that's fine too. Okay. So that's sort of a medium. That's kind of a medium. Yeah, so some of them you could do, so this is medium. Medium with like small, right? Or you could do big with medium. Just as long as there's like a little bit of difference in the size in each poppy. If you have like a lot of these, you could do big, medium, and small in each poppy. That will look good too. Okay, I do want to fold the petals a little bit so that they sort of more 3D if they have a little bit of a fold to them. So right now our petals are sort of folded in half, which ways, yeah. So I kind of want it to be like a book. And I'm going to fold some of my petals, but all my folds are going to point to that sort of middle point. And remember when you're in like JK or SK, you're doing like an accordion fold on a piece of paper, and then you sort of staple one end of it and it's like a fan. We're kind of doing that. So here I've just folded a little bit of this. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to fold it again, but I'm still aiming my fold to that middle point. I'm going to flip it over again, fold it, So let me show you sort of the top view. See how it's kind of like an accordion, or like an M, or like a W, and all the folds kind of point to that middle joint. So just those few little folds on that petal will make it a little bit more raised off the canvas, a little bit more 3D. So let's do that again. So I'm going to fold and flip, and fold and flip. Just a couple folds. See how they're already seeming more 3D? And then when we glue, we're going to glue that middle portion right there. And it's going to be raised. But then I also kind of crumple them. So there's that. The folding's going to take a little bit of time. Fold and flip, fold and flip. And the other side, fold and flip. Everyone's going to be different. My folds are not all the same width. Some are fatter than others. Look at that. Sort of put that together, put some glue, and it's already looking 3D. All right, I'll make a pile. Make a pile over there. You could do your large ones first, your small ones first. I'm doing the medium ones first. I don't know why. There we go. In the, what was it, late summer, we did a sort of a version of this with beautiful black-eyed Susans. Once you sort of have this kind of petal cut out and then fold them, you could do any flower. You could do roses. You could do maybe a chrysanthemum. Ooh, that would be intense. Daisy would be pretty easy, pretty basic. But yeah, black-eyed Susan is what we did in another tutorial. Thank you, Kinkini. Yeah, I do like to make all kinds of art. Bright colors is my thing. I like a lot of watercolors. I like mixed media too. And I do acrylics, not as much as other mediums. And perhaps some of you here have seen my butt series. Yep, I did say it. I said the word butt. It is, it's right here on our YouTube channel. One of the playlists is called Chris's Butt Series. There's, I think, 13 different videos. That's a cute little one. Cute little baby petal. I have a very mild obsession with painting butts. So usually when I'm on YouTube, it's part of the butt series, but today it's flowers. If your smallest petals are like very, very small and you can't do as many folds, just do like 2 folds. That would be okay. There's that's my pile of mediums and smalls, and they're already looking more like 3D. I think this would also look good as like maybe like a butterfly. You could do butterflies in this sort of manner. I might have to make some kind of a 3D butterfly event in the future. I would probably have to paint the butterfly pattern before the folding, because after they're folded, it's hard to get like a nice symmetrical butterfly design. But I could easily see that as like a butterfly. Oh yes, sunflowers, yep. Sunflowers would be good, yeah. Similar to black-eyed Susans. Daisies would be similar. Go. Maybe even like a 4-leaf clover. Get some green paper. 4-leaf clover, easy. All right, down to my last one here. And again, if you need more time, hit pause. Really take your time. Take a little break, bathroom break, snack break. All right, are they all perfect? No. But that's fine. Okay, now back to my sorting of the piles. Big, 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 medium, 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 small. Okay, there we go. So we are going to glue the flower petals on before painting them. That was just my choice. You could paint these first and then glue them on, but then you're waiting for the paint to dry, and that takes a little bit of time. I prefer to stick them on and then roughly paint them afterwards. Let's see here. Get your glue. Here's my glue. All right, how is this guy doing? He should be dry. Oh yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Let's put you here. There he is. All right, where do you want to put your flowers? You can kind of place them where you want them. High, low, all in the center, right to the edge, doesn't really matter. Let's go, and then maybe they could overlap, they could touch like there. I could tuck one in there, kind of thing. Let's do that. These are kind of small, but I'm going to make it work. Oh, I think I need to cut more flowers. Do I need to cut more? think I might cut a few more. Just real quick. Oh, what a cute song. In the shade of the old apple tree. So I want some here and here. Let's see. If I stack these, yeah, I'm going to stack like a couple pages. Maybe I should have counted. That's a good size. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good size. Let me just fold these up a little bit. Yeah, if you want to paint your petals before you glue them on, you could totally do that. I just decided to do it after, just for like demonstrational purposes. Okay. Cute. Interesting. This one has like a lot of big words on it. That might be like an interesting. I think I'll just stick with the normal side. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So that's sort of roughly the arrangement that I'm going to want. Get my glue. So I'm going to glue the bigger petals first. So let me remove sort of the smaller sets. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah, that's kind of a nice arrangement. Yeah, have some high, have some low, overlapping. All right, I'll start with sort of this high up one. I'm going to put some glue just right at the very pointy corner. Stick it on, and then I just sort of, don't burn yourself, just kind of press it in there. And when I go to glue my second one, I might overlap it slightly. So not like out here, but a little bit overlapped, like a centimeter. Bit of glue there, right on top of that guy. Press it. If they're, not perfectly square to each other, that's fine. So right now it seems very kind of flat, spread out, but this one's more bunched together. That's because we're going to kind of squeeze them, crumple them up and in. But if you like it kind of like that too, that's a thing. You could have them all spread out. I just like to kind of bundle them. All right, let me do this guy next. Ow. Yeah, careful. The paper is thin. The glue is hot. And even just like kind of pressing it down into the glue like that, the petals kind of raise up a little bit. Oh, so that's going to go right in there. I'll probably do this one next. Yeah, how much heat could this canvas take? I think quite a bit. Yeah, canvases are quite a thick fabric, plus they have that coating of gesso, so I think it's okay. It's not gonna like burn through, I wouldn't say, melt through. All right, so there's my sort of big three. I'm probably gonna tuck this guy somewhere in here. Yeah, overlapping is good. Some like in front, some behind each other. More realistic that way. Ooh, vase. That's a good idea. Yeah. Kinkany has an idea for a vase, for sure. Yeah, you could put like, you could paint like a vase top here, or get some kind of a something down there. Could be a vase. Good idea. All right, so I've got 4. I'm going to tuck this guy probably under here. It kind of looks cool, like just like black and white too. Get in there. Yeah, so that's like my arrangement, but I want to see yours all in different places. Really make it your own. Different sizes, different petal shapes, different paper. What if you use like a scrapbook paper with like patterns on it? Yeah. Yeah, it looks kind of cool, just black and white. I'm going to add my second layer of smaller petals within. But when I go to glue them in, I want to make sure that they're offset. So here's a gap between these 2 petals. So I want this petal to sort of cover that gap, so they look fuller. Yeah, so this petal will cover that gap. This petal covers this gap. Full coverage. Which one was it? This one? Yeah, looking fuller. And kind of bend it up a little bit. Oh, that's not fully hardened. Get down there. All right, which one do I want? Maybe this one here. That'd be good. Get in there. think my little fingertips have become a little desensitized to heat over the years working with glue guns. All right, that's my last petal section to glue. Yeah, they're all pretty affixed on there. Kind of give it a little wiggle, a little tug. If anything comes right off, then you need more glue. Yeah, I think that's got a nice kind of flow to it. Get these little glue. I don't like those little glue stringies. Get out of here, glue string. Gorgeous. All right, so what I want to do next is the pipe cleaner stems. If you have green pipe cleaners, I think black would also look kind of nice. Maybe yellow, maybe brown, maybe strips of construction paper, maybe just paint. You could paint some stems down here. And I'm doing this now before the paint, because once they're painted, we don't want to, like, you know, smear them around a lot. But while they're dry, I could kind of just move it aside and glue a stem here. And just kind of abuse the petals. You can abuse them a lot, actually, and it'll help give them kind of a nice 3D effect too. So here's my stem. I just kind of move it aside, kind of, you know, decide where I'm going to put that stem, and then I'll put a line of glue there, hot glue, nice and straight. Doesn't need a lot. Stick it on. It's okay if it's a little bit wiggly and not perfectly straight, because stems might be a little bit wiggly anyway. And then I cut off the excess. Come on, there we go. There you go, stem. Most of it gets covered, but we know it's under there. All right, you get a stem as well. Right here. And take your time. You don't have to do it as fast as me. There we go. Those ones are the pretty easy, like, shortest ones at the bottom. But now we've got these guys that have to kind of come in between here. And, oh yeah, you can see mine are a little bit curved too. They're not all straight. Here's a curve. This one's curved. This one's really curvy. This one's curvy. That one's pretty straight. You decide where you want your stems to go. I'm going to go like this. Yeah. That's a good spot. Where's my glue? go. See, this one's over here, so I might probably curve it, and then I'll bring it down like that. Oops. Ow, I glued my hand. Okay, how am I going to get this underneath? Under all of this. I do it in stages. You could do part of the stem and then let that set and then do the rest. There we go. And a big one, big one. Might need more than one. Let's see. Snake that up here. Yeah, we'll probably need a little bit at the bottom. That. Oh, get back over there. A little bit up here. We've got the perfect little piece. Get rid of these stringies. Everywhere stringies. All right, so yeah, you could leave it at that, just basic stems, but why don't we add like a little bit of artistic swirls? So this little curly guy, this little guy, this little guy. Poppies do have sort of those seed heads that form, and they're kind of like a green ball that kind of like droops Maybe that's what I was going for here with these little curly guys. But I just think they're kind of artistic, and you could put them anywhere. You could have one coming out here, here, wherever. I'm just going to curl. It's kind of nice. It could be like attached to one of the stems. Where do I want this one to go? Maybe here. That's kind of different. I'm going to do it sort of over there. This time I'm going to put the glue, try to put the glue on the curl carefully. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, it's not for everyone. If you don't like the look, don't do them. And do one over here for sure. You can do them like really, really big swirls. Make it look more like a seed head. So like that. Yeah, so these ones are a little bit different than the original ones. Different styles. Let's see, where do I want this one to go? Like that, probably. And we're doing really good for time. Really, the last step is just slapping some paint on these petal cups. And it's fast and fun and easy. All right, get that little last curl in there. You can have more curls, of course. You could fashion some actual leaves, whether they're out of paper or pipe cleaner or something else. It's mixed media. You can do whatever you want. Some wrapping paper, tissue paper. Yeah, I think that's like a good amount of curlies. So yeah, a little bit different than these. All right. Am I done with the glue? I think I'm done with the glue. I'm going to unplug that. Unplug that when you're done. Don't have it melting away all night. Okay. I'm just going to like scrunch. You can literally scrunch your flowers. Crumple them up. And you could kind of like sort of aim them in different directions too. Like this poppy could be, you know, more facing that way. So you can kind of even squash it down a little bit. Of course, I made it come right off the, I made it come all the way off the canvas. There we go. Too much scrunching on that one. Scrunch. We're natural. The folds just help with the 3D-ness. The scrunching makes them even more 3D. And they'll sort of relax too as we add some paint. Okay, I think we're ready for the last step, and that's to add some nice red or orange. I'll probably use this slightly smaller brush. Now, if you look at the original ones, they're not like fully painted. There's definite white gaps. And, oh yeah, look at all those white gaps. I haven't painted the back of the petals. All the backs are still white. All white back there. Gappies, wispy stuff, messy. It's quite messy when you look up close. Patches. And I did like a little bit of orange in the middle. Not all poppies have orange. And if you want this to look more like the traditional, like the pin, like the, where is it? Like that, stuck on my shirt. Maybe skip the orange, but I just liked a little bit of orange in the middle for a little, I don't know, a little bit more depth, I guess. So here's some red with my yellow. And I have way too much paint here. I should have put 1/8 of what I have here. You don't need a lot. A little bit of red with some yellow. Again, I wipe my brush off so it's not huge globs of paint on my brush. And you can kind of poke it open. You can kind of like move this back, get some orange back here. Kind of move them how you want. Really abuse them. There's some orange back there. You could put some orange in the middle. Just kind of, I just wiggle my brush around. Or skip the orange, go right to red. Now I am trying to not get paint on my background. If a little paint gets on your background, I think the flower will mostly cover that up. Or just wipe it off real quick. A little bit of messy orange. Yeah, I'm starting to spring to life. A little color. A little bit of orange. I'm not even going to wash my brush. I'm just going to dip right into the red. Gaps are okay. Like I purposefully did it messy, leaving some white. I kind of put my hand underneath it a little bit so that I don't like overshoot and get on the background. Go. Yeah, I'm not gonna add any more red. That's a good amount right there. You be the judge. What other colors could you throw in there? Maybe a little pink? Maybe a little just like yellow? There's more like salmon kind of colored poppies out there. There are probably white poppies out there too. Yeah, I'm just thinking about like what other flowers we could do this style. Maybe carnations, kind of a jaggedy edge on the petals, carnations. I'm thinking cosmos with the nice pinks, light purples, cosmo flowers. Those would be pretty good for this style. Oh, my hand looks like it's had some trauma. What else could you add to this composition? You could add, I mentioned leaves. Leaves would be a good addition. You could add maybe like a phrase or a saying, sort of in memory of someone, or just anything. We remember, maybe like lest we forget. Anything. Maybe like a veteran's poem. Ooh, in Flanders Field, that's a poem. You could do this, but with printed out words from the poem in Flanders Field. Why didn't I think of that before? All right. There's some red. Before I kind of crumple them, I'll add a little black to the middle. So I've got right in here, a little bit of black right in the very center. I will wipe off my brush a little bit. Get some really black, just at the very middle, kind of messy. Black right in there, little dabs. Little dabs of black. Yeah, it kind of highlights the middle a little better. And then I'm gonna crumple them even more with my hands, because as we painted them, they kind of spread out again. And the paint does make the paper like a little bit soggy. So maybe when it's dry, give it another little crumple to get the more 3D again. You could add some even darker red. So this is quite a bright red. This one was a little darker. I could even add, why don't I just mix a little, there's a little black on my brush. A little black with a little red. Yeah. Just kind of darken some edges a little bit with a little darkened red. But nice and bright red is good. Classic. think about adding other things. We were talking butterflies. You could put a butterfly in this, going to the flower. Maybe a symbol of rebirth. Maybe involve the Canada flag somewhere in there. You can sign it. I'm going to sign it. I need a small brush. Tiny baby brush. And I'll have to try not to touch anything. What color? Maybe a little black. Maybe I'll put it right here. Yeah, I just put my little initials right in here. You can do the corner. You can have your whole autograph. Whatever you like. All right. So in the description of this video, right down here, I've put a link to our Facebook group. It's called Artist Palette Painting/Drawing Support Group. It's a lovely little Facebook community of all skill levels of artists. And that's where you could post a photo of your 3D poppies. I would love to see them, especially if you've done something different in the background, or you did different flowers, maybe at a different time of the year. You could do, we mentioned sunflowers. That would look great. Maybe in the spring, do a variety of different flowers. I'd love to see that. And in that group, we also, post when we're going to do our next free event right here on YouTube Live. Before we log out here, any questions for me, whether it's about this or about any of the other paintings I showed you, the other events coming up, just any art questions in general. I would love to hear your questions now if you have them. Otherwise, you can message us directly. You could email us. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and then you'll get the alerts when we go live. Share with a friend. Tag us in your art. I don't see any questions rolling in. That's good. I've answered them all in advance. All right. Well, yeah. This has been lots of fun. This is a lovely gift to give to maybe a veteran in your life, a service member. You can make a mini version, put it on a card. So many possibilities. All right. Nope, not seeing any questions. All right, I'll let you guys go. Have a lovely evening and happy painting. Bye now.